my zigzags to weight loss, laughter through tears on the way to a slim figure. Hi, my name is Louise, and I have one little problem. Okay, well, maybe not so small. I've been trying to lose weight for a few months now, but every time I think I've found the perfect way, it all goes wrong. So I thought I'd share my epic failures and funny moments on this journey to a slimmer figure. It all started when I looked at myself in the mirror one morning and realized it was time for a change. My friend Jane told me about some new diet that literally burns fat in a week. Well, that sounds awesome, doesn't it? Of course, I immediately ran to the store to get the products for this diet. The first week was hell. I ate nothing but vegetables and drank green tea all day. The taste was disgusting, but I thought it was for a great cause. By the end of the week, I weighed myself and found that I had lost a whole ½ pound. Yay! But then it turned out it was just water, not fat. Bummer. The second week, I added some fruit to diversify my diet. And that's where the trouble started. It turned out that fruit contains sugar, which slows down the weight loss process. So the second week went by without any results. So I thought, okay, I'll try something else. Or one day I decided that yogurt with zero fat content, it's just a salvation for my diet. I bought a whole pack, sat in front of the television, and started enjoying this healthy snack. Only after half an hour I realized that I had eaten the whole pack. It turns out that when food seems tasteless, you can eat a lot more of it than usual. As a result, instead of losing weight, I gained a couple more pounds. Also, one day I decided to try interval fasting. At first everything went well. I didn't eat all day. I felt like a superhero ready to conquer the world. But in the evening, when it was time for dinner, I suddenly realized that my hunger was so strong that I was ready to eat even an elephant. Dinner ended up turning into a real feast, and I ate as much as I usually eat in a week. After that, I decided that interval fasting is definitely not for me. And of course, we can't forget about the fact that I bought a lot of special products. Protein bars, low-calorie breads, vegetable chips. And what do you think? These healthy snacks turned out to be so unpalatable that I almost cried trying to eat them. In the end, I decided I'd rather eat regular chocolate than torture myself with these diet horrors. After the diet failed, I decided that I needed to add physical activity, that it was time to pull myself together and start running in the mornings. I got up early, put on my new sneakers, went outside, and after 5 minutes I realized that my body is categorically against this idea. My legs felt like lead, my breath hitched, and my heart was pounding as if I had just run a marathon, even though I had actually walked 100 meters. I had to go home and console myself with a cup of coffee and a brownie. Well, at least the coffee was sugar-free. Jane's friend came to the rescue again and offered to go to the gym together. She even bought a discounted membership, so it was stupid to refuse. The first day at the gym went well. We did a couple of exercises on the treadmill and pulled dumbbells. The next day my muscles were so sore that I could hardly get out of bed, but I decided not to give up and went to work out again. After a week of training, I noticed that I became stronger, but the weight did not go away. It turns out that muscle is heavier than fat, so the scale showed the same numbers. That was disappointment number 2. After failing with diet and exercise, I decided to try something more relaxing. Yoga seemed like the perfect option. After all those flexible girls in pictures looked so happy and slim. I signed up for a yoga class and started practicing at home. The first class was comical. I imagined how gracefully I was doing asanas, but in practice it turned out that I looked like a clumsy bear. Every attempt at a pose ended up with me either falling down or freezing in ridiculous poses, looking at myself in the mirror and thinking, what am I doing? But the funniest part was when I tried to do downward-facing dog pose. Imagine, I stretched my arms forward, my legs back, and I was somewhere in the middle, resembling an upside-down hedgehog rather than a dog. At that moment, I realized that yoga is not as easy as it looks in pictures. Another unforgettable moment was doing tree pose. Standing on one leg with your arms stretched up and keeping your balance, it turns out to be a real art. Several attempts ended with me nearly falling to the floor, holding onto the wall as my last hope. Good thing no one saw my acrobatic etudes. But despite all these funny moments, I gradually began to notice changes. My muscles were getting stronger, my back was getting straighter, and my mood was getting better. But my weight continued to stand still, like an unconquered peak. Apparently, yoga is really good for the soul, but not for the figure. Well, let's keep looking. One day I saw an ad for a slimming tea. It promised to burn fat in just 2 weeks. I decided to try it because it won't get any worse. The first few days went great. The tea was delicious and I felt more alert. I even started to think I'd finally found my miracle remedy. But then the problems started. This tea turned out to be a laxative, and I spent more time on the toilet than anywhere else. My day turned into an endless series of visits to the restroom, and I was beginning to wonder if this tea was worth the sacrifice. The weight did start to come off, but it wasn't what I expected. It seemed like I wasn't losing fat, but water and, At some point I started to wonder if this weight loss was worth the inconvenience it was causing. Plus, after I stopped taking the tea, the weight came back on. It would seem that I did everything right, but the result was temporary. It reminded me of a story about magic tricks. First, the magician shows you a rabbit, and then it disappears, leaving you empty-handed. Only in my case, the pounds disappeared and then came back, as if nothing had happened. Well, here we go, another bummer. The next step was detox programs. They promised to cleanse the body of toxins and speed up the metabolism. I chose one of the most popular programs and started following it. The first few days were a real challenge. I had to drink only juices and water, no solid foods. I felt weak and dizzy, but I kept believing it was working. My mind was spinning with thoughts like, now I'm cleansing, toxins are going away, soon I'll be light as a feather. A week later, I weighed myself and found that I had lost 1 kilogram. Yay! I was over the moon imagining my toxins going away and my figure getting slimmer. But then it turned out it was just the effects of dehydration. When I went back to a normal diet, the weight came back too. It turned out that the detox program was just a way to trick your body into temporarily losing water. And then once you start eating normally, everything goes back to normal. It was like a magic trick. Now I'll show you the weight disappearing, and now I'll show you the weight coming back. After all these failures, I decided to consult a psychologist. Maybe it's not about nutrition and sports, but in my head, the psychologist suggested that I take a hypnosis course to reduce my appetite. I agreed, although I doubted the effectiveness of this method. When I came to the first session, the hypnotist met me with a serious look and told me that now the magic would begin. He asked me to lie down on the couch and relax. Then he started saying all sorts of strange things like, "You don't want to eat sweets and you like vegetables." His voice got deeper and more mysterious, and I started to feel myself being pulled into a hypnotic state. After the session, I really did feel less hungry. Within a couple of days, I was walking calmly past pastry shops and didn't feel the urge to eat cake. Instead, I was reaching for broccoli and spinach like they were the most delicious things in the world. But then something unexpected happened. A couple days later, my appetite came back with double the force. Now I wanted not only sweets, but everything else I could get my hands on. It felt like my brain decided to make up for lost time and demanded a double portion of food. It reminded me of a situation when you've been on a diet for a long time and then you break down and eat everything. Only in this case, it happened after hypnosis. Anyway, hypnosis helped for a little while, but then everything went back to normal. Maybe my brain just decided to play a joke on me, testing how serious I was about my appetite. In desperation, I decided to try modern technology. I bought a fitness bracelet and downloaded a bunch of apps to monitor my nutrition and physical activity. The fitness bracelet counted steps, calories, and sleep. The apps offered healthy recipes and workout plans. Everything seemed so convenient and easy. At first, I was thrilled. The bracelet beeped every hour, reminding me to get up and get moving. The app sent notifications with recipe suggestions and workout tips. I felt like a true wellness pro. But after a month of use, I started noticing oddities. For example, The bracelet was counting steps even when I was just sitting and swinging my leg. One time I spent an entire evening sitting on the couch watching a television show, and the bracelet showed that I had walked 10 kilometers. The app started to be inconvenient too. I had to spend a lot of time entering food data, and sometimes they just didn't recognize the foods I was eating. For example, one day I typed in broccoli, and the app suggested a recipe for a dish with bacon. Oh, and the results were minimal. I also started noticing that I was constantly looking at my phone or wristband screen, waiting for new notifications and tips. At some point, I caught myself spending more time managing apps than working out. In the end, I decided that modern technology is great, but it's no substitute for good old-fashioned desire and perseverance. Despite my best efforts, the weight was virtually unchanged. Another bummer. My latest experiment was to find a magic pill for weight loss. I heard that there are such drugs that help to quickly lose weight without effort. I found one such pill on the internet and ordered it. A week later it arrived, and I started taking it according to the instructions. The first few days nothing happened. I waited for a miracle, but nothing much happened. But then I started to feel strange. I started getting headaches, nausea, and insomnia. It was like a horror movie where the main character turns into a monster. It turned out that this pill contained some dangerous substances that could harm my health. I immediately stopped taking the pill and threw it in the trash. I will never try such things again. Now I understand why people say there is nothing better than a healthy lifestyle. Magic pills are a myth, and real results only come with hard work and patience. Well, or with a good sense of humor to survive all these experiments. So, here I am at the end of my weight loss journey. What can I say? Losing weight was harder than I thought it would be. All of these methods have had only temporary results, and some of them were dangerous. But you know what? I'm not giving up. I am confident that I will find my way to the perfect figure. Maybe it will be a combination of proper nutrition, sports, and psychological support. The main thing is not to lose optimism and keep moving forward. Every new day is a chance to try something new and maybe finally find that perfect way. In the meantime, I enjoy life and try to laugh at my failures. After all, laughter is also a great workout for your muscles, right? So friends, if you have your own stories about trying to lose weight, share them. Together, we can find a better way to become beautiful and healthy.